Right, so let's give a few seconds because it will take around, I think, 3 to 5 seconds before we start. All right. All right, so good afternoon, good evening, everyone, or wherever you are in the world. So let me just quickly introduce myself. So I'm Ross Charles, and I do NFT reviews, especially for play-to-earn games and any cryptocurrency-related stuff. And for this afternoon, we have the CEO for Mirror World, Chris Zhu, and he will help us understand more about this very exciting play-to-earn game that would be coming out this year. And this is it with partnership with PIF DAO, Play It Forward. So this is the guild working with us to present you Mirror World. So I'll just let Chris do the introduction for Mirror World and anything else he wants to share, especially about the team and anything else. Then we can move forward with that and start with the questions. All right, Chris, I'll give you the floor. Awesome. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh. Oh. Wait. Yep. Let me. Um. Desktop audio should be fine. Wait. Mic auxiliary. Hmm. Let me try getting more audio. Sorry for that. Um.
Yeah, the community is telling me
Yeah,
that they can't
I
hear.
think they can hear you now, Chris. Sorry for that. I think we need to I think repeat that introduction. Can you confirm chat if you can hear Chris now? I think the output should be there.
Is it better now?
I don't think we can hear anything yet.
Yeah, there's I think a bit of a lag. Hmm. Yeah, the output is here already.
It's only you that they can hear. Yeah. Give us a second, please, guys.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, it's already there's already an output here in the audio. Hmm. Let me
Okay.
try just restarting all the output here. Should be. Should capture everything.
Chris,
Yeah, actually, someone DM me asking for Chris's like direct Telegram or IG, not for business.
I mean, I can't really see any of the chat histories. I'm just in Discord, so
Yeah, trying to
try to
find.
just the Discord chat.
Wait, can you try now?
Right.
Speaking, guys. I tried adding all the audio output here.
all right.
Sure.
Again. Mic test.
Let me try getting more audio. Sorry for that.
Yeah, I think I can. Oh, there's no audio.
So when I speak, it's still gone. I guess it's just Roz's voice.
Yeah.
It's
It's
quite
only
weird.
Ross's voice, and even if I speak as well, they say that their voice is just the same sound. It's not loud one.
Hmm. Wait, can we try restarting the stream? I'm not sure what's wrong with the output device here.
Yeah, I think they can hear you.
Oh wait, we can hear from. There's just a delay on the stream. I can hear Chris now.
Oh, you can
One
hear
sec.
us now. Okay, so I think I need
How's
to.
it now?
Yep.
Oh yeah, my chat's saying that it's good now.
All right. All right.
All right, thanks guys for
Yes.
with us.
I think it was a bug with OBS. Sorry for that. These things happen from time to time. All right, so let me just rephrase the question earlier for Chris. So, let's redo this. So, Chris, thank you again for joining us this afternoon. So, we have Chris as the CEO of Mirror World, and he'll be introducing the game initially, and we'll move to the other questions later on. So, Chris, can you just sorry for that? Can you just repeat the explanation earlier of what Mirror World is? What's the plan for the game? And I'm quite interested in terms of like the AI stuff that you have talked earlier. Then we'll move to the questions afterwards.
Yeah, of course. Yes, thanks guys for staying with us during the a little bit of a tech trouble.
Yep.
So I'm Chris. I'm excited to be here in the PIF community. And today I wanted to share a little bit about our project called Mirror World without taking too much time for the questions later. So Mirror World is a content matrix powered by artificial intelligence, and our team actually started out in artificial intelligence, mainly focused in open world and MMORPG games, where we really wanted to make a world where the virtual characters within those games can interact with their users really naturally within their own environment and their own society. So we developed two sets of different algorithms for companies like IGG, Endgame, and we did the anti-cheat bots for something like CS:GO. And we really have this language route where natural language processing can be used to process logic and language, and for you to talk to your characters, which is what Mirror NFTs recently has deployed. And the other side is the behavioral side, where we use something like deep reinforcement learning and decision trees and make these characters really interact freely within this environment. So if they're shy, you hit them and they will just hide in a corner. And if they're aggressive, they react accordingly based on their personality. So after we rolled out our initial NFT, which was powered by AI, we really wanted to create virtual lives that are interoperable across all games, which actually ensures that holders will have the freedom to enter each one of our GameFi projects that we roll out. And we will be having 2 games that are ready before Q3 this year. So in Q2, there will be 2 games ready for launch.
Wow.
And then some of our communities have actually already entered the alpha version of so after we rolled out so after publishing 3 different types of games, Mirror will create an economic framework for more content producers to come in to be incentivized by the tokens that we release, as well as to incentivize the content consumption, which is going to be the players playing the game will be rewarding play to earn games with our own token as well. So essentially, it will be an AI-powered virtual carnival that yields crypto returns for the people. And that's essentially how we want to, kind of create a virtual world that is empowered by AI technology in the future.
Awesome, Chris. And this is the first time I heard of a project that would actually utilize AI and with NFTs. I've been reviewing like NFT games for like more than 200 of them, and to be honest, Mirror World is the first one that we have. But in terms of like to make it just simple, what are the games that you actually plan to release this year? Because those are the things that people wants to like look into. Are they really enjoyable in your opinion? And what are the games that you can like refer to? So because I mean most people would like to like compare it if it's like an action RPG, they most of the time compare it like with Diablo or like with Hades, or if it's like a P or a battle royale game like Fortnite, right? So what are those type of games that you would be expecting?
Right. So I see that you've done your research there and also probably play a lot of action RPG as well. So for us, we took inspiration from some of the biggest action RPGs on the market. We really like the gameplay of Hades, the visual effects of Hades, the ranking system, the ranking ladder of Diablo 3. But at the same time, when we looked at these traditional games, we thought that they weren't mature enough, or they weren't ready for the crypto market. Actually, it's insanely talented producers behind those games. But we really wanted to make an action RPG that is easy to play within your phone. So let's say you have an Android and then you have a normal device that you really want to utilize for the gameplay, then you'll be able to use our characters in a vertical ARPG that is also roguelike. And we can have all of our worldviews instilled into that art direction within that vertical ARPG. So you can think of it as the easier version to play than Hades, at the same time with a device on your cell phone. So that's the first game that we'll be launching. The second game we'll be launching is like similar gameplay to Party Animal, where it will be multiplayer online battle arena. But the gameplay itself would also be simpler than a party game like that. You'll be able to fight with your mirrors within that environment and try to push your opponent down a cliff or down a platform where it's really exciting for you to battle it out. And each one of the mirrors actually hold their own skills and skill sets and equipment. And you can pick up bombs and different devices within the battleground to try to outscale your opponent within that limited amount of time. So those are the first two games that we'll be launching before Q2. And then Q3, we're actually looking at something very exciting. We're actually looking at something with tower building mechanisms and the world map where we can have our characters be spread out through that world map. And you can utilize your characters to build. You can utilize your characters to defend. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, I think you tried to capture most of the games that people love to play: action RPG, tower defense, and MOBA type of gameplay. And if it's coming next quarter, so we're just waiting less than 3 months. I would just assume that, right? So we're ready to play it by that time. Or is it just an alpha version that we're expecting, or it's just like an open beta for everyone can come in?
Right. So we will have alpha versions throughout these 3 months, and then hopefully in 3 months' time we'll have a public beta in June. So essentially we'll be utilizing the games for multiple play tests, and then depending on how that goes, we'll open it up sooner or later. However, we think that we want to have the community in the creation process with us as well. When we look at something like Skyweaver, which had its public beta for the past year or so, right? It really increased the metrics, the numbers, as well as the visual style, right? So we wouldn't mind opening it up to the community as long as people are willing to try it out and give us feedback. And I think improving the game throughout the long run, because we have multiple games within this matrix, is actually really important to us.
That's very interesting because I've been playing Skyweaver as well, and if you're opening it that way, more people can like find bugs, improve the game further before you like open it to the public. But if people wants to actually play this game, I think that's the common requirement of people. How many of this Mirror World NFTs do I need to have for me to start playing? Or even in the alpha version, what's my requirement to get into that game?
Right. So we expect our holders having one Mirror NFT, able to join all of the games that we provide in the future. Right. So it's one set of assets every single game. And that's what we pride ourselves in making, and really creating an economic system that's sustainable within each one of those circulations.
All right. So I think the common question in terms of sustainability right now in the NFT space, right? Because most people would think of other NFT games. We know Axie, Pegaxie, Farmers World are like the number one games of each blockchain. But we can see the economy kind of dying because the rewards pool are there. People are just cashing out. So how do you like look into the sustainability for Mirror World? Are we looking into this like because for me, I'm just giving my personal opinion. It's like play to earn, getting tokens and just riding up down the liquidity is not really the way to go. So do you agree with me in terms like putting values in the NFTs versus to just like farm up tokens and earn from this game? Or how does the sustainability model of your tokenomics and your game would work in the short and the long term feature of this game?
For sure. So to answer that question, I think I wanted to address one of the biggest fallbacks of the current economic
Yeah.
models of most of the games that we see, right? When you look at a gaming company that develops games, within a huge gaming company or a good gaming company, there are usually multiple projects going on at the same time.
Right.
Why that is because games have a very, very high tendency or probability of failing individually. So if you're like betting on investment assets that only work in one centralized game, that game itself might fail due to a variety of reasons. For example, co-start, distribution, growth, community, all these other reasons that can contribute to the failure of a game actually also affect a crypto game. But the fact that a crypto game also depends on the liquidity and the sales and marketing and community building as well. So there's a higher risk even for a centralized game. How we think about that is if your game does not succeed very early on within the game and you take too long for your community to progress, it also actually gives the community a lot of impatience, right? So your asset value decreases very, very rapidly if
That's
you
true.
only have one single centralized game. And that's why we started out building a game matrix from the onset, because when we have this kind of big game matrix where we can be rolling out different scales of games throughout 6 months period of time, 3 months, 12 months, at every single time horizon, we can have a product that is launching at a different scale. Your asset essentially holds its value throughout the entire matrix or universe lifespan, right? And you can be, earning crypto, and it can have its highs and lows, but we can always be introducing new games or new content for people to kind of come and enjoy and consume. And in that sense, when we do reach a stage where there are more, just normal game players instead of just play to earns, what we call laborers, or a lot of people who are scholars and trying to earn a living from these games. We think that enjoying the game is a lot more important than just earning money. You should be earning money and enjoying the game at the same time. And if the gameplay itself throughout the game development process actually it grows to be enjoyable for a lot of these players, there will be content consumption naturally, right? SLG, a lot of people spend money in that because the game is fun and people pay money to enjoy that game. And I think for every single player that does purchase a Mirror NFT, that should be the basic requirement, is for you to have fun in these games.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you, Chris. And I think we should rename the term. I'm not sure if you're in the Twitter feed. Bryson kind of like tweeted in terms of like this type of games are dying. So we should move to the play and earn concept, where Mirror World, I think, is going like what you said. And I'm actually both of a gamer and an investor. But if I have the chance to actually get a profit from a game, I would actually prioritize profit. But if I actually enjoy the game, I would actually spend more time and invest further in that, because I mean, your assets should grow value and your NFTs as well become more expensive. Now, going to the question of like, because we have limited NFTs right now. I know your mint is already done, at least for the Gen Zero or your first generation, right? Do you plan to like extend some minting events later on, or how do like we new users? I don't have my own set of NFTs. I know I can buy from OpenSea, but if I want to get new batch of NFTs, will you still be releasing one, or will you have breeding features? How do you plan to like expand your NFT assets?
Right. So we actually think that for some games, breeding is a really good mechanism to increase your batches of assets. Not necessarily for all of the game types, because if you have something like a card strategy game, you can actually have very limited motion or animations behind the system, and it's very 2D oriented. Then then the entire action is relatively simple. But for something like ours, we want one set of assets to go interoperable through all the universes,
That's
right? So reading itself actually causes a little bit of trouble there. But we do plan to release the second batch of assets, which actually has a richer sense of storytelling, a richer sense of worldview behind the characters as well. So the Genesis collection has a worldview where the mirrors are basically artificial intelligence creatures or data-driven creatures that are devouring Web2-based siloed data in databases of, let's say, Facebook, ByteDance, a lot of these huge companies, and they're trapped in there, right? They want to go somewhere really decentralized and more free, and that's why they're trying to escape from these environments and get to a Web3 world. And that's basically the storyline. But within this Web3 world where they escape to, there could be different factions that are battling each other, like fire, grass, and water, kind of having a triangular, battling. Right, and we want all the scholars or all the players or all the users that are using our product to really understand the worldview behind our product as well, because I think content actually creates a sense of fun for a lot of people when they're playing games. It's like reading a novel. You spend a lot of time reading a novel, reading a book. You enjoy that process, and I think that's what Mirror World also brings you, is that worldview behind all the characters. So we will be launching our second batch of assets relatively soon, then please keep in tune with that.
All right, so guys, keep an eye for that second minting. I'm hoping I can get some of those as well. I'm pretty sure it would be cheaper than the price would actually scale up later on as the game comes out. So I'm just sharing with you guys what I do sometimes on other games. So it's quite cheap and the price goes up when the games go out. So another question that I got here, I think one concern is you're currently on Ethereum, right? And gas fees are low now, but later on if it spikes up again, we go into a bull run stage, it's quite painful. Are you planning to extend it to other network, like maybe Solana, AVAX, or other new coming like Terra? What's your plan essentially?
Right, so I think as an asset interoperable universe or a matrix, for better experience, we are eager to actually address these issues. Essentially, there's no way for us to deploy on Ethereum without causing trouble with the user experience, right? So helping partners also reduce transaction costs and attracting more people to Mirror World while ensuring data security is something that we really prioritize within our development schedule. We did a lot of research and discussions around this topic, and I think that so for now, comparing various existing solutions, and we finally chose Solana as our new home. So the reason for that cross-chain experience, which our community actually voted on and picked a solution for airdropping all the assets to Solana as well. We think that although it's a very young chain and a young ecosystem, gaming ecosystems themselves actually require a lot more than just technology behind, scalability solution, security, stuff like that. So something like a ZK rollup or a secondary a layer 2 solution has its benefits in terms of the technology. However, when you're considering the ecosystem, the wallets, the distribution channels, the marketplaces, the traffic, as well as the gaming infrastructure, only Solana at the current stage provides most of those. They've been investing a lot of GameFi ecosystems that kind of matches with the gameplays. So I think for now, we think that Solana is a very fitting place as our new home. But some of our biggest investors actually also support a lot of other chains as well. And I think in the end, we want to be able to create an ecosystem that exists on all these other chains. It will be multi-chain in the long term for sure. But I think Solana is a good way to start it. And we're looking at partnerships with other chains as well.
All right, awesome. I love Solana blockchain because of the transaction fees, and it's quite fast. And I think it's really growing right now. Majority of people are moving away from BSC going to Solana. I don't see much games coming out on Ethereum, but it's like doing the same approach that you're doing. It's like doing cross-chain because a lot of people don't want to move away from Ethereum. I don't know if it's like a badge of honor if you're in Ethereum, because only rich people going to that blockchain. But I'm quite interested in your concept of AI, and I was thinking earlier because I've read about something that your NFT matures over time, right? and that's where the AI concept of this really Rick and Morty style of art of your NFTs. So does your NFT like change its looks over time as it matures? Then does it reach a point that it's actually age out? Maybe it expires at one point. I'm old already, so I cannot play this NFT anymore, and I need to replace it. So I'm thinking also in terms of burning mechanism. So can you talk more? How does that work with your NFTs?
So right now, because there's a limited supply, we actually think that the supply is controllable for us in terms of how we roll the assets out. The burning mechanisms come more from buying back some of the assets and burning them, and buying some tokens back and burning those. So we'll have mechanisms within the game or within some game modes to do that for sure. If you're reaching for a higher value of rewards, then we might ask you to stake your NFTs and stuff like that. So those are mechanisms that we have within the ecosystem. And regarding what you just talked about, whether they would grow over time visually, that's something that we haven't really decided yet. I think that the traits will definitely grow when you're in game and developing the characters within the game development system. And I think throughout that time, there's burning mechanisms for token, as well as increasing your ability within the game, which is also natural. Right, so you can pick and choose whether you want to make them stronger, but you have to pay a little bit of price to make them stronger. So it's your choice. But in terms of rarity and traits, those are things that rarities will stay the same once you kind of open these mystery boxes. Traits, you can grow them over time. But the looks, right? If the community all really want them to grow into, let's say, a mature level of mirrors, right? They're like little kids right now.
Yep.
Then maybe we consider that. But the AI proponent is very interesting. So right now we have a dialogue system that is hosted on our front end website. And once you kind of interact with your NFTs, you're essentially increasing their intelligence value, right? So if you talk to your parents, you actually try to level them up on the experience bar. And when they get smarter and smarter, what you're doing essentially is giving them a higher ability points within the games that actually links to the AI components. So by increasing your emotional connection with the mirror by talking, you're also getting a stronger mirror on the back end, and thus increasing your ROI. So it's a longer chain of events, but it essentially links up pretty smoothly.
All right, so that's very interesting. I'm not really more concerned about the earnings in this game, but I want to see like the values in the NFTs. Maybe if the AI learns from you, can he or she share that information to other owners later? Because you can sell your NFTs, right? Would there be that kind of concept, or would the NFT unlearn everything that he or she
Right.
have gained from the original user once it's transferred? So it's like kind of, for me, it's kind of a security issue in a way that you manage to like learn from this person through that AI feature, and you transfer this NFT to another person, right? So how do you like address that security concern? I know it's like a decentralized area, but I know you need to protect your users as well.
Right. I think that makes sense from a privacy perspective. So how we're doing is every time we transfer, we actually erase all the chat histories,
That's
that
right.
AI actually gains. But the algorithm itself, once improved, will stay in the database, and there will be filters for some of the sensitive words that the AIs would be would be talking about as well. So it's a very safe environment to talk to your AI and continue the conversation with them, because I think it's an emotional connection that you want with your asset or your digital companion, which is a concept that we really crave and really thrive to create. So within that process, I think a lot of our users are actually talking to them about more casual topics as well. That's also something very interesting, is because when your mirror talks like an Elon Musk, you're not going to be like you're not going to be sharing like daily secrets with them, but
Yeah.
you would like to ask them about, how's your life? How's SpaceX? How's stuff like that? So they have domain specific knowledges. But what we really want to achieve is that the levels themselves are locked on chain, but the AI algorithms are hosted in our centralized server, right? So we want that experience to be seamless as well, because AI just cannot run fully decentralized yet.
Agree. Because the ownership of the data is within your servers and database, and you cannot really store that in the blockchain. I think one interesting question that I have as well is, can other people access your mirrors and talk to them but not gain information? Because I mean, you said this particular mirror can develop, right? I want to like share it with other people so they can discuss things with this and kind of catch your personality even if you're not talking to them, right? Because it kind of assimilated what you have over time, and it's like talking to you if you have your mirror. Is there a feature like that that you plan? I'm more interested with that now versus the games you're actually releasing.
Yeah, we actually had a conversation about this specific issue. So right now, like when you're talking to your mirror, it's almost like you're in this like private home, right? So it's a one-on-one conversation. You wouldn't release that one-on-one conversation feature to other people,
Agree.
right? It's like a private setting. But I think we are developing a product in the future, which is going to be in visual demos later on this year, which utilizes different algorithms, not just chat, but also movement, but also actions. And in that product, essentially what we're creating is a society of AIs, right? You have an island of these like little, like, I don't know if you played Club Penguin when you were little. I played like pets, right? So you're growing your pets, Animal Crossing, stuff like that. You would have an island that self-governs. So all these AIs will be walking around in that island, and you can go up to someone else's AI, someone else's mirror NFT, and just say, hey, like, what do you think about this? And then they can actually react to you. So something to showcase that we can actually do this is that we've actually opened up Discord bots that utilizes the same AI technology that we have. So as a non-holder, you can only chat with them maybe 5 to 10 times. And then it'll send you a DM saying that, hey, like this is Mirror World's asset, shouldn't talk to it too much. But in our partner communities like DAS, .bit, we've actually deployed this bot for it to talk to other users. And some of our community members have been in our chats talking to those AIs as well. So that I think is a representation of we can do this whenever we want, but we want an environment where the AIs can speak to the users, not just like a Discord channel, right?
Very, very interesting concept. I think it extends the value of your NFTs just by sharing that, because as of now, just looking by having 3 games and having this AI function within your NFT, it adds not only a small value but a very high amount of value to what you're holding. Because I don't want to sell my NFTs because I have a connection with that already. Even if I plan to sell it later, maybe I'll think twice. So that would help sustain, I think, the value of the NFT. Now, moving to the question in terms of like how do you like support the early supporters of this game? For example, the first set that already minted the set of NFTs, trying to support your community, giving out all these suggestions. How do you reward them? And because people wants to maybe come in, right, buy these mirrors in OpenSea right now and get into this project, what would be the benefits that they would be expecting? Not 100%, but at least something they can look forward to.
Right. So each one of the games in our economic system will have its own circulation. So by completing tasks with one mirror across all different games, you can pick and choose the games that you want to spend time in. Let's say for today or for tomorrow, and you can pick the tasks that you want to complete for economic returns. Right. So those are the standard feature. In addition, what you'll be able to do is to grow out the mirrors. Then leveling them up to a higher level, and we really believe that it's going to take different time horizons to complete some of the products that actually will be very impactful for our crypto gaming community to really experience something like the society that I just talked about will take a little bit longer time. So for our users, I think everyone has a different kind of expectation of how long they want to stay in the ecosystem. But I think the longer you play the games and the more you experience the content that we actually produce at a very high quality, then our users will be able to gain more by holding or staking their assets in the long run as well. So if you go on OpenSea and check out the buy the selling list, right, the listings for mirrors, there are 6,700 on OpenSea, I believe. There's only 200 listed. There's only 200 listed, which is a very small fraction of
That's true.
our right. So I think that's very interesting because the more you talk to it, actually you gain an emotional connection that kind of hosts you, lets you keep it for longer, and then you actually expect the product, and then you get fun, and then you also earn money. So throughout the play to earn economic system, and I think we will be opening up a lot of these assets, and as well as the infrastructure that we develop on. For example, our block sync, our SSO, our game development platform, stuff like that for our community to create content and be incentivized with our platform tokens in the future.
Awesome. And by looking at, in OpenSea right now, I'm just showing them the NFT listing, and what you said is quite true. The volume traded is quite high as well, 155 ETH already for a floor price of like 0.07 ETH. So those are a lot of transactions for this low amount of NFT, guys, if you want to like compute it back. So going back to this question, I haven't heard you tell about metaverse stuff, because I'm talking to like projects every day, 1 to 2 projects daily, and all of the things that I can heard, or we're building a metaverse, we're gonna be the number one, and I haven't heard you talk about metaverse things. So what's your take that why are you not telling us that this is a metaverse project, or you just really focus on building something, then the metaverse will just come out there, or that's not really the goal?
Right. To answer that a little bit, so a little bit about my background. Before joining the current company and starting Mirror World, I was a part of ByteDance, which hosted, bought out, which is a VR company, made TikTok and a lot of other amazing products that you guys might be using. So ByteDance itself is a huge company that started to focus on metaverse. So I started looking into it when I was there. But I think what we came to conclusion was that metaverse is a concept that kind of hosts different technologies, right? When you're looking at AR, VR, blockchain technologies, AI technologies, as well as the hardwares themselves. Every single one of those industries actually had a threshold where it increased in value to a threshold where people think that in a couple of years it will be reaching the singularity. And that's what combined to make the concept of metaverse. However, I also think that all these concepts are still in a pretty early stage, whereas we should focus on one of those routes and really figure out how to develop the best technology, the best product within that. And then when all those routes combine to create a holistic product, then that's where metaverse itself should combine to be realized, right? And I think we've chosen blockchain gaming because it's actually one of the routes where it introduces most of the concepts within a metaverse creation. But at the same time, it also has a very sound economic structure that backs up that product. If you're just using something like Meta workroom or whatever, right? Yep. The 2B thing is actually not enough to support that product. So we really wanted to create that economic flow and the logic and the content creation behind those structures before we focus on just calling ourselves a metaverse project.
That's right. I completely agree with you, Chris, on that term. So let's build the product first before we build the metaverse and sell all these lands or other NFTs. So my question was supposed to be, are you planning to sell lands or other NFT cars or other NFT assets, or it's just purely this new set of like Mirror World NFTs that we have now, and you'll just think of it later once your product is ready to build up onto the next stage, like you were saying?
Right. So I think about that question like how we think about driving a car in real life. What that means is you're not going to go to every city or every single tour with a car, right? So you only purchase a car in a certain certain scenario of your life where you're driving to work, driving to school. That's when you would need a car. Right now within our ecosystem, there's not enough content that would require a car, so we're not selling a car. But if we do have a driving game that's powered by, let's say, mirrors, right? It's like Mario Kart. Then it's very natural for you to want to buy a car within that game because you want to race and increase your value of that racing game as well. Similar to land, right? So the first 2 games that we play is entirely character driven, equipment driven. So we will have those, and you can mint your equipment to be NFTs once you go into the game. But the 3rd game that we release, it's going to have tower defenses, different modules like homeland system. Then we might be able to release a land-based asset system in the future. So I always think about it like, where are you going to use it? What's that land going to be used for? It's for content, right? And if there's no one creating content or using content, and there's no like professionally generated content within your own platform, then the land, it just goes to waste. So that's also a really interesting economic question where, is the property ownership shared with the usage? Or are you just selling the usage rights, but not the ownership itself? So let's say in the East, people are actually buying the usage rights, but not the ownership. But in the West, it's a different economic model where you're buying the land itself, the ownership rights itself. So I think we're creating a lot of interesting discussions around that with our community. So if you go to our Discord, we actually talk about that sometimes as well. So just very interesting conversations within the design of assets. We really wanted to be sustainable, and sustainability and how that economic value can sustain within those assets is something that we focus on.
Right, Chris. Awesome answer. And there's a question here from the audience. We're just trying to read out because what are those
course.
key features and benefits that will encourage investors to invest more? So I think I'll just answer this first. And I'm not sure if you will agree with me. I think if the team of Mirror World, Chris, and the rest of the gang will be able to deliver the quality of the gameplay and including the AI assets that they are producing, because I mean other projects can actually use that technology as well to extend like more income and more investors, not only coming from new players but at least from other organizations, and can help the liquidity of this project as well. So that's my opinion about how do we move in investors in terms of like more quality of work and improving the technology. So maybe Chris, you have a different idea on that question.
Yeah, I think those 2 points are completely valid. At the same time, I also think that we will be using a lot of effort to create more and better content for people to consume. So those people are not only going to be crypto players or investors, but also players who are willing to spend a lot of money within the ecosystem themselves. Let's say if people do grow emotionally attached to a character or their own asset, then they're willing to buy derivative products for them, and those monetary value actually goes into the treasury or the DAO, and goes back to purchase the primary tokens, and then the value of those tokens and value of those NFTs subsequently increases. So I think that economic loop is also powered by our content matrix itself. Then AI is a way for us to bridge a lot of businesses, like you said, a lot of different projects as well. So we have something called a soul chip, where blue chip communities can come to our project and really claim those chips. And essentially what that does is your Bored Ape or your CryptoPunk can become interactive and intelligent right away. And they will be able to come to our game later on with a free-to-play or like a lower rarity asset for them to experience the game and experience the content. And there's only, I think there's been over 1,500 soul chips claimed over the past couple of months. I don't know if you guys know XLB Finance in the Philippines. So it's projects like that also collaborated with us to release their own intelligent NFTs. So I think in the future, our community, our ecosystem will be a way to connect all these different NFT projects, different GameFi projects together with the AI components.
Awesome, Chris. I think the audience love your answer. I'm just reading the chat now. So there's another question. I'm just picking up because I have more follow-up questions, but I want to like address the answer of the community, the questions of the community first. We might run out of time, so we have 16 minutes left to be exact. So will there be a customized feature of the NFTs in the future? Can we change their looks? I know we talked about earlier being mature, but in terms of like NFT, more of like a socialized way of making my NFTs look cooler. I know the NFTs look cool now. I think some people would just like to buy skins. I'm not sure if we want to call it that way. So would there be something like that, Chris?
Yeah, sorry. I missed the last part of that question.
Oh, no,
It
no.
just lagged out.
Just to like summarize it, will there be a customizing feature for my NFTs? Like, I'll buy these skins and I'll just put it up on my character, new headwear, new shoes, or it will lower the value of the NFT because the rarity of the NFTs are within like the percentage of the assets that you have, right? Because each part has its own rarity, right?
Right. So right now, there's no skin features that we're rolling out with the NFTs. They will still be a holistic image. I actually want to show you guys a clip that we actually created for our our games. So we actually made a short video that I would love you guys to see.
Yep.
What the system will look like. Let me just screen share that real quick.
You can share that. I'm just making the screen bigger for everyone to.
Yeah. Can you guys see the screen? Should I play it?
Oh, we cannot see you're presenting, but we cannot see your screen yet.
Actually, I'll send you the link. And do you mind sharing the screen? Can you share the screen?
I'll try to share the screen from my end. You can just pay to
All right.
visit here.
Share it to you.
Oh, this one. Let me just resize the screen again. So it's on YouTube, right? This one, this link.
Yeah. Can you play it?
Yeah, I'm just trying to like pick up my. Give me a second because the display went out.
While we're waiting, let's everyone know that a few of the questions that you've already chosen, we'll put them into a comment picker and then have that one winner for later for the NFT. So whichever question you've chosen, we'll put them into a wheel that we can choose who will win that one NFT that will be given away by the keep it coming, guys. And again, so many fans for Chris commenting on you're going to leak some tokens and stuff like that. It's really cool.
I think everyone can see the view. Nice. Awesome. So I think everyone saw the stream right now. Let me just add back the window here so everyone can see us again. All right. Awesome. So we're back on screen, Chris. So everyone saw the video. Can you add up more to that? What we would be expecting more once the game is released, or that's just like a feel of what you will be experiencing for the first games that you will be releasing?
Right, yeah, sure. So for the first game, the video is actually not the most accurate representation, just because we want it to be a lighter experience as well. You can actually go to our Discord to see the game demo, which we've released to some of our community members as well. So I think that video is kind of focusing on three different points. One is that our assets will be interoperable within different universes. Two is that we're going to create 2D and 3D assets across the different universes. So you can pick the games that you will like based on visual or based on playstyle. And then three is that we have a very, very rich environment and also rich storytelling at the back end, where you can see the third game is like an action RPG.
Right.
The first game is going to be a cyberpunk-ish, battling system. And then the second game is a person versus person. So player versus player. And I think that's what the concept trailer is really trying to communicate, and that digital feeling that we want to capture with the music as well.
Right, awesome. So I think someone is saying here, so they want to be like, there's like a suspense for the third real game that you would be releasing. So I think you have solid fans here, really, Chris, on the chat. And I think there's one question you're talking about evolving. I think Chris answered earlier that the NFTs doesn't really die out because there's a limited supply. But is there a awakened feature for the mirrors later on? Because we're talking about action RPG, right? So they want to like understand the concept of how do we make our mirrors more powerful, and how would that affect the other features of the other games as well once we have this like awakened mirror that we have. Interesting question.
Yeah. So I think some of our community members actually leveled their mirrors up to pretty high levels. So that will be linked to the gameplay, where the traits will be tied to the levels that you will have outside of the game. In the meantime, when you do purchase a mirror and go into the game, so each of the universes, you can level them up to a certain extent. And then if you go into the gameplay and then try to battle it out and level up your experience points, That way, you also get a higher ability power within the games themselves. So outside of the game, talking to it, developing it, inside of the game, just playing more and battling more, and those are the ways for you to gain experience and really make it stronger.
Awesome. So I hope, guys, you appreciate Chris answering that question. I'm also excited about the playing part, but I was like hooked up on the AI work later because I was an AI engineer as well back in my work. So I do a lot of data and analytics. That's why I got hooked up on the earlier discussion with Chris. And I think there's one question here. This is probably not really my last question, but I'm really interested in terms of like the release of the token. How does your tokenomics look like? Do you have like a single, dual, or tri-token model? And do you think their tokenomics model would be really effective with your current ecosystem that you're planning to build out?
Right. So the token for our ecosystem is going to be essentially a platform token that interconnects all of the games. So there will be a circulation within the specific games, while also be connected through the specific incentive structures across multiple games. And we don't think that games are the only type of content that we're going to have within our ecosystem.
Right.
We might have films, we might have videos, we might have content creation in other forms as well. So those should also be incentivized based on the quality and also the structure of your content creation, right? So our tokenomics is actually being developed by ourselves, as well as with Republic Crypto, which designed multiple really successful project launches previously as well. So they actually have a huge experience in terms of long-term economic design within the game ecosystem. And I think that's something that we actually pride ourselves in, is the fact that it will be successful in the long term instead of just dropping off after a couple of days. So I think that the tokenomics themselves, there will be a lot of leaks in the following weeks, with our white paper being released before the game launches and stuff like that. So to answer your question a little bit, would it be a single token model or a dual tokens model? We actually started out with a dual token model where we looked at a lot of competitive projects. But I think we switched back to a single token model just because we thought that you need to align the incentives between the governance as well as the utility, right? So if your governance structure proposal making people are holding your governance token and making changes to the game, where the people trying to use the tokens and earning from the tokens are holding the utility token. Although you do separate the specific volatility within the system, but you can control the volatility with buying back assets with, let's say, stable coins, or buying assets with established tokens with consensus already, right? So there are other ways to stabilize the volatility, basically. So ultimately, we decided to come back to a single token model where governance and utility will both be combined to be consumption mechanisms for the token.
Awesome, Chris. So a single token model, and I'm excited once your updated white paper is out. So I'll try to read it and see how it compares with other projects. But so far, no, to be honest, for the audience that hasn't come in, this is the first project I've reviewed. Like I would say 300 or 200 plus projects in the market, both low end projects and even the AAA ones. And this is the first one that would implement an actual AI feature with a team that has an actual AI engineers that has a background to do it. So there might be other projects out there that I haven't looked into, but so far with all the big projects that I've looked into, this is the first one. So I'm not trying to hype this project, but to be honest, this is a really good project, guys. You may want to look into it. And I think those are like the key questions that I have. But this is like, I'm not sure, Chris, if you want to answer this question. But I really wanted to ask this. So what's your main edge over other projects? I would say that even the high quality or the AAA ones, how would you like compare it with them? I'm not sure if you want to name projects similar to you that you know, and how do you scale up against it? Because I saw some pitch decks for other projects. They like to compare, like we're like with Axie, like this one, or with Draco Master, or all of those other projects. So do you plan to like size up your projects like that way, or you just want to build and just let the community use your product?
So we want to size up our projects for sure, but not in the sense that we will be building AAA games right away. First of all, I think the tokenomics within the space just changes by the day, right? If you have like a tokenomic structure 3 months ago, it would be probably different by today. So you want products that can really scale up, but while experimenting with different kind of mechanisms within the game economics. And that's why we chose kind of lighter game development schemes where we can have mobile games developed within a couple of months and then testing that out and then have live ops for that game and then move on, having another game that will develop with a sustainable model, but testing different kind of game mechanisms to make the tokenomics more sustainable. It also hedges the risk for your assets as well as the tokens because there are multiple games. So that's very different from having a centralized game. We do think that there will be a lot of high quality, let's say MMO or triple AAA RPGs, coming out in the next few years. But having one of those games out in a couple of months is unrealistic. And for you to develop a game like that, you actually have to do tons of testing, tons of creation processes within the progress. And I think for crypto gaming right now, we need to adapt to the speed, and we need to think about ways to alleviate that risk for whether you're an investor, your community, as well as your project itself, right? So how we're going to size up our project is by consolidating out of the technology that we do create during the process of these developments. For example, if we're using Coco's Creator for H5 distribution platform, then that H5 development mechanism can be left behind. The SSO can be left behind, the block syncer can be left behind, the AI can be left behind, and then one day, maybe 6 months later, we can combine a couple of those modules to combine for a better experience, and then 9 months later, we can do another one, right? And then eventually, you would have an open world MMORPG or society or whatever you want to call it. If you look at SimCity, if you look at Sims, there are modules within those environments where they've developed for the past couple of years, and then they had to keep them within the games, and then they found ways to make them really fun.
Awesome, Chris. I love your answer, and I think the audience is quite excited. Some are asking when can we play those games. So I think they came in late. So to answer that question very quickly, so it would be available next quarter, at least the alpha version. Then I think later on this year we will be having some open beta version, like what Chris mentioned, like what Skyweaver was doing, having a long-term testing period to provide more quality product for everyone. So I think we have 2 minutes left, and I just want to give Chris the floor before I close out this session, and some words from PIF, the DAO team, from Kat, if they have some last words to share with the audience. All right, Chris, any last words before we end this AMA session? Very interesting answers that you gave us today, but anything else to make the crowd interested that you haven't answered earlier?
Yeah, I think I should have done a pretty good job explaining the project, but guys, do feel free to join our community and talk to us about any suggestions you might have regarding the website, regarding the game, regarding what you guys want to see within the project development cycle. And that's what we pride ourselves to doing. And I think, PIF really gave us a really good platform to do that collaboration as well. So, guys, feel free to join us in our community.
All right, so follow their Twitter account, join their Discord channel. I can see a lot of activities compared to other games, and the ideas of the people there are quite really smart and interactive. And for Kat and Erica, any words for our audience? Are you hiring scholars for your guild? I think a lot of people are also asking me that when I told them that I'm working with PIF DAO to do this AMA. Will they have scholars for Mirror World as well?
Since at this time Mirror World hasn't really launched, and the part for the scholars isn't ready yet, but we will make sure to share everyone all the details. And the reason why we worked with Mirror World is because how exciting they are and how they could actually bring our scholars into the metaverse in a different way than the usual, right? So we just wanted to share as well, from the questions that you chosen today, we want everyone to also join our Discord page, which I will be sharing right now, because that is where we will be spinning the winners. These are the names that I'll just quickly mention: Kevin, Tuban, Chloe Morningstar, Berubo, and Angel Desna. You could guys join because you'll be one of the picked people, or one of your questions are actually picked for the AMA itself. But everyone else, please go ahead and join our Discord, Twitter, follow Rozz as well on YouTube, and let's keep this partnership up for the long run, right? Right, guys?
Awesome, Kat, and thank you so much as well, Chris. So just to end out this session for everyone. So I'll be re-uploading this session also in my channel for the ones who haven't really watched it earlier. I know the Play It Forward team will also upload it in their channel. So I'm looking forward with your game, Chris, and really good job right now in terms of the quality that I can see, and more success to your team and with PIF DAO as well. All right.
Thank you so much, Rozz, and thanks Katrina, Erica, and everyone from the PIF team. Thanks for having us.
All right. So
Thank you.
everyone, so have a good night and happy weekends and enjoy your day. Keep safe. I'll be ending the stream now. Goodbye.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.